So today is January 29th, 2017, and we're in Hebrews chapter 13. This is, of course, the Repairers Fellowship. It's session number 24 of our study of Hebrews. Now, last week, we dealt with two main issues: the importance of a biblical worldview, and verses 1 to 3, chief of which was, let brotherly love continue. But I want to talk about a few things here today, and I want to talk specifically right now about the idea of a biblical worldview. Why is that important? As we look around in our country and in our world, it is more important than ever that we who are believers have a biblical worldview. Okay? So the slide says it is more important than ever that we as pastors, elders, deacons, teachers, influencers of any kind, because that's what we are, strive to instill in the body of Christ an ability to think and act biblically, to think critically with the Bible as the guide, rule of conduct, and plumb line, and to act accordingly. Okay?
Right.
How does one
Right.
think and act biblically? You think critically with the Bible as the guide, rule of conduct, and plumb line. What is a plumb line? It is a weighted string that used to be hung from the side of a building or a structure to make sure that it was square, that it was absolutely straight. The appalling ignorance of the sheep is an indictment against the leaders of the church. Ephesians chapter 4 says, starting at verse 10, the one who descended is also the one who ascended far above all the heavens, that he might fill all things. And he personally gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers. Why? Verse 12, for the training of the saints in the work of ministry, to build up the body of Christ. Verse 13, until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of God's Son, growing into a mature man with a stature measured by Christ's fullness. That is the purpose for the gifts that Christ gives his church. That is the purpose for the gifts that Christ gives his church. As we've talked about, excuse me, as we've talked about many times, what your gift is in the church, whether you're a pastor, a teacher, an evangelist, prophet, or whatever you call yourself, you have to understand, okay, that you are a gift to the body. The body's not a gift to you. The people that you lead, you are a gift to them. And your purpose is not to build up yourself or to build your own kingdom or to get rich or to get prosperous. That's not what your gift is for. Your gift is for training of the saints in the work of ministry, building up the body of Christ until we all reach unity of faith and in the knowledge of God's Son, into a mature man with a stature measured by Christ's fullness. If that's not what your purpose is, if that's not what your focus is, if that's not what your goal is, you're in the wrong business and you need to get out. Bottom line.
Right.
Paul goes on to say in verse 14, then we will no longer be little children, tossed around, tossed and blown by the waves of every wind of teaching, by human cunning with cleverness in the techniques of deceit. If we haven't seen that recently in the political arenas in this country, human cunning with cleverness in the techniques of deceit. Regardless of where you stand, when you look at what we call the political structure in this country, it is run by human cunning with cleverness in the techniques of deceit, which is antithetical to how we in the body of Christ should be living and acting. So what should we be doing? Verse 15, speaking the truth in love, let us grow in every way into him who is the head, Christ. From him, the whole body, fitted and knit together by every supporting ligament, promotes the growth of the body, excuse me, for building up itself in love by the proper working of each individual part. Everybody has a part to play. Everybody's part should be working properly in order to promote the growth of the body. Okay? This is not only a New Testament concept, it is also an Old Testament concept. Isaiah said, Isaiah chapter 28, "Therefore hear the word of the Lord, you mockers who rule this people in Jerusalem. For you have said, we have cut a deal with death, and we have made an agreement with Sheol. When the overwhelming scourge passes through, it will not touch us, because we have made falsehood our refuge and have hidden behind treachery." What is Isaiah saying here? That the leaders of the people have made a deal with death and hell. Okay? Paul calls that being given over to a reprobate mind. When the things that you desire and you want are no longer the things of God. But look what God says to them. You have made an agreement where you think that when the scourge passes through, it won't touch you. And why won't the scourge touch you? Because you've made falsehood your refuge and have hidden behind treachery. But guys, look, I have laid a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. The one who believes will be unshakable. And I will make justice the measuring line, and righteousness the mason's level. So justice is the plumb line, and righteousness is the level. Not deceit, cunning, craftiness, or falsehood. He goes on to say that hail will sweep away the false refuge, and water will flood your hiding place. Your deal with death will be dissolved, and your agreement with Sheol will not last. When the overwhelming scourge passes through, you will be trampled. He is promising death to the leaders of his people who have dealt deceitfully. So for those of us who claim to lead, if we do not adapt, believe, teach, and promote a biblical worldview, there's literally going to be hell to pay.